Let me ask you something, guys. When you walk into a meeting room, perhaps it's a boardroom, could be a bar, any type of sort of social gathering, or anywhere else that people are sort of congregate, do you immediately, and without sort of thought or thinking, do you start sizing people up, especially other men? And I'm not talking about in this sort of creepy, weirdo, judgmental way, but you're just trying to get a, lay of the land. You're checking the landscape. What you're trying to determine is who's in charge, meaning who's sort of the alpha of a group. And yes, that is a placeholder term, guys, but who are the leaders? Who are the confident men? And who are the guys that are sort of just going through the motions? The guys that, well, they're sort of phoning it in. And if you're a man, guys, and about 100% of my audience is men, so I'm betting you are, and I'm betting you do. Because this is something that we all do, guys. Whether it be consciously or unconsciously, it's something we do as men. So today, we're going to talk about why this is not just normal. It's sort of our brain's factory default setting. It's literally ingrained in our DNA. So what I'm going to do is break this down, this sort of male status-seeking engine, and why the modern messaging is sort of, effing with it, and what you can actually do. What are practical steps to sort of kind of adapt to this? So let's get down, guys, to the nuts and bolts. For literally hundreds of thousands of years, a man's sort of place in the tribe hierarchy, this wasn't about ego, okay? It was about survival, literally. So what did higher status mean for our sort of ancestral man? Well, it meant typically more food. He had more protection, call it provisioning, for you and his family, and a better shot at passing on his genes, period. Guys, these are irrefutable facts. And this spot in the, to get this spot in the hierarchy, this was based on merit. It was a meritocracy. In other words, guys, it was earned, okay? It wasn't based on any quotas. There wasn't any DEI. There was no illusion of fairness, equity, and everybody deserves a chance BS. Just not the way it was, guys, okay? And, the time of kings where, maybe meritocracy wasn't quite earned, wasn't going to come for some time. Anyways, guys, moving forward, our brains evolved into the powerful reward system for sort of climbing the ladder. Metaphorically, when you gain status, guys, when you win a competition, master a skill, earn genuine respect from other men, your brain is going to release dopamine. It's also going to spike testosterone. It literally feels good. Guys, this is why dopamine is known as the feel-good hormone. There's good reason for it. This is why when, maybe at work, when you close a big deal, you get that sort of rush. You hit a new PR at the gym, you throw up 225 for the first time. Scoring that big goal, hitting the home run, whatever sports analogy you want to stick with it, or even just winning sort of a debate among friends. It's sort of the same ancient wiring running on modern software. But here's the problem, gentlemen. And let there be no confusion about this. It is a problem. We now live in a culture, and I'm talking about Western and sort of industrialized cultures, that are increasingly attempting to sort of install this sort of mind virus, if you will, on the male operating system. They're trying to socially engineer or to sort of override what has been biologically programmed over hundreds of thousands of years, as I said earlier. So what happens then? Well, we're given this narrative, or we're sort of fed this narrative, and yes, it is a false narrative, that these hierarchies that I, again, talked about earlier in the video are somehow inherently bad. That competition, especially among males, is somehow toxic. And that, everyone should be equal in basically every way. Sort of the idea of egalitarian equalism. So what happens is when our biological reality, let's call it, clashes with this social programming, it creates a serious internal conflict for many men. So here it is. Here's another metaphor for you guys. So it's trying to run sort of a high performance engine. Think about it. Did you have a Ferrari, Porsche, whatever your favorite high performance car is, really doesn't matter. But instead of using, 94 octane, 95 octane, whatever it is, you're trying to run it on sugar-free, non-binary, ethically sourced water. Well, if the car even starts and it even somehow gets going, it is going to sputter. It is going to hesitate, and you are going to get a whole lot of frustration and angst. And this is why, guys, this is why, going on from that metaphor, that so many guys feel so disconnected, so directionless, so purposeless. So they're natural. And yes, guys, it is natural, or probably better said, innate drive to compete and achieve has no, socially accepted outlets, in today's day and age. So what happens? Well, for a lot of guys, it's going to get suppressed, leading to sort of an apathy or depression, or on the flip side of that, it's going to sort of leak out in what would be termed unhealthy ways. And they sort of are unhealthy, guys. This would be random aggression, sort of outbursts, just uncontrolled rage, pointless arguments, arguing on the internet with complete strangers about, politics or whatever, the ideology of the day is. Again, or, and this is worse, obsessing over hollow metrics, like social media followers, likes, and whatnot. So what the hell do we do about all this, guys? Well, for one, we stop fighting our wiring. That is a fool's errand, and it is an unwinnable battle, guys. What you do instead is you work with your biology. You harness it. You sort of consciously choose which status games, and guys, when I talk games here, I'm going to put the quote fingers up. Status games are worth your time and energy. So what I'm going to do here is give you 3 actionable steps to start doing that today to help reclaim your sort of primal frame. That innate desire, that biological desire to compete and win at life. So what is our first step, guys? Well, the first step here is to conduct a status audit. So to do so, we're going to need to become ruthlessly aware, guys, ruthlessly aware, clear of where your status-seeking energy is in fact going. So guys, I need you to grab a notebook. So as I lean over here, it can be as large as something like this, or as small as something like this. Point is, guys, find a notebook, grab a piece of paper, okay? And what we're going to do is create 2 columns. So in column number 1, guys, what I want you to do is list everywhere you feel that competitive or you need to seek recognition. So examples of this could be your job title, your salary, your physique, your car, your house, your bank account, your knowledge on a specific topic, even how many likes you get on a post. Again, guys, bear with me here. I know I sort of shit on that a little while ago. What I do need you to do is be brutally honest in this assessment. Okay, guys, now in column number 2, I need you to rate each on a scale of 1 to 10. It could be 1 to 5, but let's use 1 to 10. I think everybody understands that. And this is based on how meaningful the satisfaction it brings you long term. I'm not talking instant gratification, guys. I'm talking about long-term satisfaction. What's going to happen, guys? You're going to quickly see which games are hollow and which actually feed something sort of deeper in you. The point here isn't to judge yourself. It's to gather data on where your energy is going and whether that energy is paying dividends in actual life satisfaction. I don't know if you're going to call it happiness, purpose, whatever you want to call it. We need to determine that. All right, guys, so that moves us on to the second step here. We need to define our value-based hierarchies. So once you've sort of identified these status games, we need to consciously choose better ones, okay? This needs to, we do this by defining our core values. I hope, guys, at this point that all of you, I'm going to say most, that all of us have core values and standards. I've talked about standards heavily in other videos, but if you haven't, we need to do that. What actually matters to you? And guys, this isn't not what you think should matter, what somebody on social media told you should matter, your parents, what actually makes you feel alive, what actually matters to you, what gives you this sort of meaning and purpose in your life. The things that get your ass out of bed in the morning and get you, your blood pumping, and get you going. Is it providing for you, your family, your loved ones? If you do have a family. Is this physical capability? Is it your body, physical strength? Can you fight? Can you defend yourself? Is it intellectual growth, leadership, and impact? Is it a combination of all these things, guys, which in my opinion, it should be? Or is it something else I didn't mention here? The fact is, you have to determine that. So, what we're going to do next in our notepad is write down our top 3 to 5 values. Now, for each value, create a sort of corresponding status hierarchy. So as an example here, guys, if health is a value, which probably should be, because without that, you have nothing. But anyways, your hierarchy isn't to get jacked, okay? That is extremely vague. We have to be far more specific. So specific milestones, like hitting certain strength goals. So if, in fact, it was being jacked, well, to be jacked, let's just say, we want to bench press 225 12 times, okay? Or we want to get our body fat to 10% or less. These are specific and measurable goals. Maybe it's something like maintaining consistent energy levels throughout the day, or being able to keep, up with your kids without being winded. Those are more specific, more defined goals. Say providing, using the term providing is one of your core values. Okay, that makes sense, especially if you have a family. Your hierarchy isn't just making money or making more money, right? You need to have specific levels of financial stability or freedom that align with yours and your family's vision. So, you could say, I want to make $150,000 a year. And that's a defined goal. But what I'm saying, guys, maybe more specific is, I want to eliminate our family's debt by, January 1st, 2027. I want to have $500,000 in my retirement account by, 2030. Be very specific, guys, and write these down. There is a science that writing things down, guys, is going to lead to probably you're more apt to follow up on that when it's written down. The key here, guys, is these hierarchies are chosen by you. Chosen by you. Based on what matters to you, okay? Not other people, not me. I'm just some guy that's on YouTube, trying to help you. But it has to come from you, okay? And not, again, as I said, imposed by society or certainly not social media. All right, guys, so that moves us on to the third step here, right? Create a status-seeking system. That is alliterative, and I try and say that again. Status-seeking system. All right, I just said it twice. Anyways, guys, in all seriousness, awareness and choice aren't enough, okay? We need a system, an actionable system, to direct this energy consistently. So, start by setting clear and measurable goals. Guys, I'll probably get this saying wrong. Again, what isn't measured can't be improved upon. That's sort of, probably best way to say it. It's not the exact quote, but I think you get my point. For something to get better, it has to be measured. What isn't measured, what isn't tracked, can't be improved upon. That's the point in your chosen hierarchies. So, not vague goals, as we said earlier, like getting better at business. That is far too vague, guys. But instead, specific ones like increase my revenue by 15% this quarter, or master a specific skill within 90 days. Maybe you want to learn to play the piano, the guitar, paint, learn a new language, whatever. Define the goals, put metrics on it, track the metrics. So next, guys, we need to create feedback loops that give you sort of regular status hits, if you want to call them that. So this can be weekly progress reviews, tracking the metrics, or finding sort of a community where you can measure progress against others who share your values. Guys, you see this on the apps, but or even here in sort of the male spaces. We have a group of guys that maybe be sort of in competition with themselves. It's usually in probably, a friendly competition, but again, we are men, guys, and we always want to try and, be better than the other guy. It just, if you're a man looking to grow, that's what you want to do. So finally, guys, here, we need to build in sort of celebratory rituals. Guys, we don't need to have a bonfire, and burn bird feathers and, pray to some odd god. Let's keep it in perspective here. But when we do hit a milestone, acknowledge it. Don't dwell on it, but acknowledge it. This isn't about arrogance, guys. It's about giving your brain a little bit of a dopamine reward for meaningful achievement. The key word there, guys, is meaningful and achievement. This is going to reinforce the behavior when we talk about the feedback loop. So the system is what turns occasional motivation into consistent drive. So we have this system, guys. We follow the process, the system. We do it consistently. We know the consistency wins every single time. Now look, this isn't about becoming sort of over-the-top, aggressive asshole. Like I've talked about before, the sort of fake alpha, the performative, jerkweed, or stepping over people to get ahead. We don't want to do that. It's about understanding your true inner nature so you can stop fighting yourself. You don't have to fight other people, guys, but you certainly don't want to fight yourself. Well, so when you consciously direct, the status seeking drive toward things that actually matter to you, you just don't feel more successful. You are going to get more aligned. You're going to have a clear vision for yourself and your future. Sort of that internal conflict is going to sort of quiet down. You're going to feel more peace, and you're no longer, fighting your own wiring, your own biological programming. So, guys, where does that leave us? Well, as I talk about in many videos, I want to give you sort of action steps. So, guys, starting this week, not next week. There's still time here as I record this. It is Thursday, Jueves here in Panama. So guys, what I want you to do is conduct the status audit, talked about. Grab your notebook and get brutally honest with yourself about where you are in your status seeking right now and how much is actually serving you and how much of it is just superfluous bullshit. That alone, that sort of awareness alone can sort of change things for you, and it should. So guys, do these steps. Follow these steps and drop me comments below. Let me know, do you think that status seeking as a male is important? That you need to have a competitive drive as a man? Or are we in a world where it's sort of become outdated? I want to know your opinions. Again, guys, drop them below. So, as always, guys, I think you know what to do. If you liked the video, hit like. If you thought the content is good and you want more, hit subscribe. And again, guys, if there's somebody that could use a video like this, pass it on to them. I appreciate everybody who stuck with me to the end here, and everybody who's subscribed thus far. Guys, I've got a ton of content. Check my channel for the videos, and there's more coming. So I appreciate you guys. And remember, own your nature, and then build something meaningful with it, okay? You guys, as always, live deliberately.